Like, most of you never liked the characters the way they were. What the fuck are you, Jesse? What are you talking about?
Negro, pick up the phone. I'm gonna type this out, actually. Negro, don't go back to sleep. There you are. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
If you sound a little better, I can switch to my computer.
Okay, that's probably fine. All of this is staying in, I hope you're aware. I already started recording.
Oh,
I literally already I was like, bro, this freaking, I'm gonna call him, I'm gonna see how long it takes for him to get up, I'm gonna record all this.
1 hour later.
But
the Elise project. I have to make these next like 3 videos, cause I'm gonna stop working on the videos for myself. Liar! So I can just grind that Elise project for you.
okay. So, for everybody watching at home, the whole reason that I decided to make this video is because some Ian Flynn hater decided to come to my comment section and started arguing with me for like several hours, and then proceeded to try and argue with Jet. So
that is why I'm here.
right. So basically, what happened here is that people were talking in my comment section about, you know, just like how, even though, you know, Ian Flynn is a Sonic fan, you know, people are still upset, and I'm just like, I don't really care about the fact that people are upset about Ian Flynn's writing. I know, you know, it's hit or miss. You know, I like Ian Flynn's writing, Jet not so much. It's whatever. I can respect that. However,
I don't even dislike his writing. I just think his writing has issues.
well,
As does a lot of writers' writing.
well, yeah. I mean, that goes without saying, but like, we can both understand each other on that. This guy, Ataladin 87, though, is a whole different story, because, and this is like 2 months after I placed this comment, so I guess this just hit his freaking inbox. He says here, to both placeholder and, well, I think mainly just placeholder. He wasn't even talking to me immediately, but he just comes to my comment section and starts insulting placeholder. He says, and mind you, a lot of his comments are edited, a lot of my comments are edited too, but that's mainly for grammar stuff, but a lot of his comments are edited. So he says to placeholder, so why couldn't that fan write a proper story? Do you read your garbage sentence? Just frame one, just assaulting people.
Just
Frame
insulting people. Frame one. That is going to be a recurring thing in that thread. He just insults people for no reason.
Absolutely. Okay. So, I then respond by saying, my opinion, he did write a proper story in the games I played that he wrote, you know, Sonic Bones.
Because he did. Is it a flawed story? Yes, but it's a proper story nonetheless.
You know,
That's how writing works.
yeah, it's just like, you know, like I eventually, you know, say to this guy, it's better than what we've been getting, but he doesn't agree with that. He responds by saying, for IDW nerds, not game fans. So he doesn't even immediately refute. I just realized that. He doesn't even immediately refute what I said.
No, it's not until later that he starts just going on defense.
That makes me wonder if he just changed his argument, because I almost forgot that that's what he started with. He was like, "Oh, I'm not talking about for games. I'm talking about the comics." And so then I respond by saying, "Convenient how he can write in the games but not the comics. Excuse me if I'm incredibly dubious, because this is an argument that I've heard a lot. This is an argument that I've heard constantly when it comes to Ian Flynn. Oh, the games and the comics are different. You know, he's bad when writing the comics, but we don't talk about how he writes in the games," which is just an argument that I do not care for.
I'll never understand that, because it's like, he's writing for the same fucking franchise. Is it incredibly flawed in both mediums? Yes, absolutely. But let's not act like it's not proper story writing.
Indeed.
I feel like his work in the comics suffers more from the flaws than the games does, due to the games being a interactive medium, unlike the comics.
Indeed. Ataladin then responds by saying, he can't though, and you don't have to prove yourself to be a writer for Sonic games. 2010s have proven this. Now, I think what this is a response to is something that I actually said in this video, you know, Ian Flynn's the problem with the Sonic and Mega Man community, question mark. But I'd later then, you know, say in a pinned tweet, if I can find, not pinned tweet, pinned comment here, and I guess he just didn't fucking see this. He just wanted to fucking start fighting. Quick note to add, when I say that Ian Flynn is a professional writer, what I mean is that his professional writing that I've seen impresses me. Just saying he's a professional writer alone isn't enough, as there are several professional writers that don't write very well. However, I don't believe that Ian is one of them. And I believe it was you that actually pointed that out to me.
It was me.
Right, so you pretty much just saved my butt and bolstered my argument here. So him just saying that, like, makes him look worse than it makes me look.
Hello there. Are you enjoying the video so far? Well then do we have a treat for you. If you like and subscribe, you'll get content like this and more on the Havoc Network channel. While you're at it, why not leave a comment below and let the man who hates humanity know what you think. Now then, back to the Havoc Network show.
Just like, let me go back to...
He just keeps digging this hole. It's gonna get worse later.
It's gonna get absolutely fucking worse. So I respond by, because he says he's a big 2010s meta era defender, then that's fine. If he likes the meta era, then he likes the meta era. Fucking Some Call Me Johnny likes the meta era.
It's like, fine to like 2010s.
That's
like,
you're right.
Like 2010s games aren't incredibly flawed from a writing standpoint.
Right, and I even say this, the games in the early 2010s have subpar to terrible writing overall. The two games that come to mind immediately that I almost never hear any pushback when it comes to writing in those games is Sonic Colors and Sonic Lost World. Both games that came out during the meta era, both games people constantly fucking agree on is either, for the latter's case, bad, or for the former's case, a good game, but no one ever says that the story is good. So it's just like, I'm surprised that, and I don't even think Ataladin brings up that the games in the 2010s have good story. He kind of just ignores the fact that I said that. He, in fact, he doesn't refute it. He just says the 2020s aren't any better, to be honest, which I call incredible cap on that. I say they're getting better, slowly but surely. I personally believe that they're leagues and bounds, but just to, like, be nice to this guy, I just said, okay, they're slowly getting better. And then he says, in what way are they better, especially when character are worse now than they were in the 2010s?
They absolutely are not.
And it's a statement that he just makes. He just makes the statement with no examples.
This is going to be a recurring statement for me, probably. Is the writing in the 2020s flawed? Yes. Does that mean it's as bad as flawed as it was in the 2010s? No.
Absolutely not. Like, both things can coexist. Like,
and I know I feel like I'm bolstering one of his later points, but I'm going to refute that later when it comes up.
So I respond by saying, incorrect. The characters are better than they've been in a while. I'd argue they started to improve a bit around TSR. The first character that comes to mind in TSR is Amy. And this is something else that I eventually talk about, is that it seems like the focus around her character is like less being clingy and obsessive around around Sonic, and more being focused on interacting with her own friends. Like, the first time we see her in TSR is she's having a picnic
with Big and Omachow,
which why not Cream? I will never fucking understand. Sega, what the fuck?
my not even just that. My question is, if you're gonna have a picnic with fucking Omachow, why wouldn't you want Cream there?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, right? Lore-wise, Vanilla is apparently very strict. So that going to be why?
Which is funny, because, like, this is a very new thing. Like, the only times that I could really even see Vanilla being all that strict was in Sonic X, when she hired the Chaotix to go freaking, like, check up on Cream. But the Chaot, well, more so Vector, was being more strict than Vanilla, because Vanilla didn't tell Vector to bring her home. Vanilla told Vector to go check on her and make sure that she was safe. Which, to be honest, she really wasn't, because they were fighting like mechanical gods, but that's a whole fucking different thing in itself.
That's the whole can of worms we're not gonna get.
Like, I could go over why that's like bad parenting, but I digress. That just proves my point. Is just like, you know, Vanilla could be way more strict than she is, and the fact that they just kind of changed that out of nowhere and being like, oh, she's a civilian, so she can't, you know, hang out with Sonic and friends is just like, that's just a retcon. That's just a blatant fucking change in character for no reason.
See, my beef is a lot of people want to go, oh, she's a child. You can't have a child fight. Tails is 8. That never stopped him.
People
and
keep forgetting that.
A multitude of times. It didn't stop her from going into space when she first showed up in Sonic Advance 3, despite everyone telling her not to go. You know why she went? Because her fucking mother was kidnapped.
Like, honestly, that would probably explain why Vanilla isn't super strict with her, because she had to literally get saved by her kid. She's probably like, you know what? You're pretty damn strong. If you want to go out and save the world, then that's perfectly fine, because what the hell am I gonna do?
Right.
But I digress. I want to make an entire video about like just how important Cream is as a character, but that's going to be a little bit farther down the line once I get through some of my other backed up projects, because I have a lot, especially like besides like all the crazy Sonic fans that I've been, looking into. But I respond, Ataladin responds by just saying, no, they really haven't. They aren't written better at all. They've regressed after TSR, completely blind characterization. Again, no evidence to back that up.
Nothing to point to.
Just saying, nah. And so I respond by saying, I think we'll have to agree to disagree here, because the characters have been very enjoyable to see in my eyes. Maybe I'll make a video going over some of the stories we've had recently and how I think they compare to the meta era, which at some point I do kind of want to just go through a whole bunch of the games and specifically focus on the story aspect, because I don't see a lot of Sonic Tubers even doing that. Ataladin responds by saying, because most of you never liked the characters the way they were in the 2000s, it cannot tell the difference between characterization. You didn't see that one, bro.
I didn't see it. I ignored that one. Again, yesterday was the first time I saw any of this. I'm not joking. When you sent that message. When you sent that message, that was the first time I had seen any of it.
Bro, so you didn't...
I started scrolling through the conversation after I saw that message, and at a certain point, because it was just the same fucking thing over and over again, I just ignored it and scrolled to the very end.
Right, because pretty much all Ataladin said throughout this entire thread was nuh-uh.
Most of you never liked the characters the way they were. What the fuck are you... Jesse, what are you talking about?
I don't know what this dude is fucking talking about, bro.
I love the way the characters were rigged in the 2000s.
Like, I even respond by saying that's not true. I like plenty of the characters in their 2000s interpretations. I have an entire video where I praise just about every iteration of Amy Rose, including her adventure era interpretation. You'll have to deploy a different straw man, and I'll even do you one better. I have another example. Knuckles. I love how he was portrayed in the early 2000s. Like, what? What are you talking about? That's just not true.
One thing a lot of people missed during the 2010s era of Sonic writing was an aspect from the 2000s writing that was Sonic's cool factor.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Guess what? A lot of people who had that complaint say what? Guess what game story they say brought back the cool factor, even with all its flaws. It at least managed to bring back Sonic's cool factor. Guess what game they say did that?
Sonic Frontiers.
A game written by Ian Flynn. You dense fuck.
Like, it's just, I don't even know where he got that from. Like, this guy must not know anything about me except the fact that I like Ian Flynn's writing, so that immediately means that I come with a certain set of characteristics, I guess. Even though I've never said this shit in my life. Like, I don't like the interpretations from the 2000s. When did I ever fucking say that?
I really didn't get that.
I don't think I've ever said that in my life. So... him saying they've been enjoyable is rubbish, seeing as they carry no elements of past iterations of their established selves. Especially Amy. Ian has completely neglected everything that made her unique and likable. What?
That's just a lie.
No elements of past iterations? What do you mean, no elements of past iterations?
They actually do, more so than 2010s did.
Right. It's just like, again, you made a really good example. Sonic having its cool factor back in Frontiers. Amy is still What were you
Amy
going to
being
say?
obsessed with tarot cards again.
Right.
They're bringing that back.
Now you could
Mind
say
you, that hadn't been mentioned since the fucking early games, since the 90s and early 2000s.
right, and we just take a freaking aspect specifically from the early 2000s. Her entire character, which I go over later on, it's all freaking like based around like love and romance. That was one of her characteristics from the early 2000s. Like what? Like in another one, Tails, you know, just being the smart guy, you're able to use his fucking mech, his fucking I forgot what his mech is called. I forgot what it's called.
I forget what it's called as well.
But you're able to use his mech in fucking like in the post DLC, but he's still like the super intelligent person that he, you know, generally always has been. It's kind of been a little rocky in the 2010s, but at least it was still there, and it's again there in Sonic Frontiers. Knuckles, Knuckles' entire psyche, which, you know, focusing on, you know, his duties as a guardian, and also his rivalry with Sonic, which is something that really had kind of been like not done the best in the early 2010s. Like Knuckles was pretty much just a like an asshole in the early 2010s, and they actually brought it back to Sonic and Knuckles having more of a, I think they had a rivalry, but like there was no malice there.
I couldn't even say it felt like Knuckles was an asshole in the 2010s. I say their rivalry felt dead in the 2010s, and really in the early 2000s too. But that's more so because Knuckles and Sonic's rivalry was more so a friendly competition than anything else. And in the early 2000s especially, Sonic almost always had a new rival character anyway.
Right.
Someone else to compete with other than Knuckles.
Which is something that I personally was like kind of started to get sick of, but I understand it's kind of a necessary evil, especially if the series was going to continue just focusing on Sonic as the focal point. So of course he was going to have to be the one that continuously had like foils. But there's just something about Sonic and Knuckles' rivalry that just, I don't know, it's different from all the other ones, because it's like they're both heroic people. They just like one-upping each other, and I think that it was done like very well, specifically
honestly
in Sonic
their
Frontiers.
friendship sometimes kind of reminds me of ours.
Sometimes I can feel it, like we're both really good friends. We don't always agree, and we kind of see, you know, we want to, I guess, get to the same place just in different ways. But at the end of the day, you could still very obviously tell that the two have no ill will towards each other, like at all, and they care about each other, which is something that especially in Boom was not there. I don't even want to talk about Sonic and Knuckles' relationship in Boom, and just
a lot of the character relationships in Boom were weird. But then again, everyone was an asshole in Boom.
Yeah, and then like, because the 2010s were like Sonic's friends are useless kind of like area, like time period, I feel like Knuckles and Amy had more interaction during that time period than Sonic and Knuckles. So Sonic and Knuckles having that very obvious like reconnection with their like friendly rivalry in Frontiers was incredibly like satisfying. So again, Ataladin, what are you actually talking about? Those elements aren't there in Sonic Frontiers. Yes, they are. You are just lying. Like, we literally went over the aspects that are in Frontiers. So what are you actually talking about?
I'm gonna hit you with this, right? That the entire let me do this, right? That the entire 2010s games, there are only 2 games where Sonic and Knuckles actively interact with each other in a semi-rivalristic way. Guess which 2 games they are?
I think one of them might be Generations.
Generations and Lost World.
Oh god. And like, he barely had any fucking screen time in either game.
Either of those games, mind you, his interactions in fucking Lost World are entirely just him telling Sonic, "Yo, pick it up, come on, what are you doing?"
Which adds absolutely nothing, but apparently that's where Knuckles is written better. Okay, whatever you say, man. Ataladin said, I respond to Ataladin by saying, I fail to see what's changed, and I already went over the different examples, but that just bolsters that I don't see what's really changed. She's still, like, Amy still believes in love and is very heroic and caring about the people around her. The only thing that's changed, and I love how you have yet to come out and say it, is that she is less clingy. Being clingy is not cute, quirky, or cool. That is a bad trait. And removing bad traits isn't called being unlikable. It's called character development. So Placeholder and Ataladin start arguing again. And then there's this comment here that says that I say you need to play Frontiers again. I don't know what that's a response to. Like, because there's this thing about... there's this thing here that's a response to I think this comment here. So I don't know what comment came. I don't know what comment came before this, and I think he deleted it, and I couldn't find it in the recording. But let's just forget about that right now. Let's just see what I say here. So you need to play Frontiers again. Amy was plenty optimistic. Her entire arc was about helping the Coco reunite with their love. A pessimistic person wouldn't even bother with that. The world is literally ending around her and she has the time to care for others, creatures that she doesn't know. And towards the end, she heroically gives her conscience up for Sonic so he can save the day. Did you play the game at all? Also, how the fuck do you remove bad traits in the wrong way? Removing bad traits is a regression? And then he responds by saying, this shows you have...
Okay, pause for a second. I will say there is a wrong way to remove traits. A prime example, Castlevania Nocturne. That's a whole fucking can of worms. Fuck that show. Fuck everyone who worked on that show.
Well, I suppose so. But the thing is that Ataladin doesn't give like a good example of like how it's a bad way.
Bad traits themselves is not a bad thing. In execution, it could be, but I don't think that happened in Frontiers.
I don't think it happened in Frontiers either. Like, I think everything was fairly natural, and this is coming from someone who does not think, and I have yet to really like publicly say this, but I do not think that everything in Sonic Generations Remastered was like done the best. And
it wasn't. It just wasn't.
It wasn't. Like, and I'm willing to admit that. I'm not like such an Ian Flynn, like, I'm not an Ian Flynn dick writer. Like, I could point out when he's doing stuff that just kind of doesn't make sense. And Generations Remastered is definitely one of those, like, situations where there's a lot of things that he just did not have to do. And I wish he didn't, but it is what it is.
And the same thing applies to Shadow Generation. There are a lot of things there that just don't make a lot of sense.
Well, yeah, I need to, like, actually make a video on that, because I didn't see as many issues with Shadow Frontiers, but I don't know, maybe you can open my eyes to them. Not Shadow Frontiers, Shadow Generations.
There were really only, like, 3 issues. One of them was just a personal issue. The other 2 were actual, like, legitimate writing issues.
Well, yeah, I plan on making a video about that. Maybe I'll have you, like, edit it, and you can kind of, like, give your thoughts on, like, what parts of Shadow Generations didn't really work. I'll be like, you know what? I can't think of anything that's necessarily didn't work for me in Sonic and Shadow Generations. Maybe Jet can. He's good at freaking bitching about stuff. I don't know, but
that's kind of my whole thing.
So he responded by saying, "This shows you have no actual idea of how a story progressing or what happened in Frontiers," which I would argue that first part, saying that I don't understand how story progression works, is an insult, and he later says that that's not. I don't agree with that. I think that is an insult, but I think
it is meant in this context. It's meant to be an insult. Absolutely, I don't believe him.
Right. So he says, Amy, helping the Coco isn't optimism in the slightest. That's just something she did out of her own intuitive, which is not good grammar. She even goes about it illogically, resulting in an argument with Sonic, which was ridiculous as seeing that Tails was more in need. She gave her consciousness to Sonic in a BS effort that was never explained in the story. At no point did anyone know that they could do that until Sonic was screwed over. I don't necessarily disagree with that part, though.
Again, mind you, that is a recurring point that he fucking latches onto, because it is an issue in Frontiers of Writing. Frontiers of Writing, I'm gonna say this again, Frontiers of Writing is incredibly flawed. It's still overall better than most of the writing we got in the 2010s.
She says her
and also, I just want to point out, he said Amy helping the Coco isn't optimism, and it's just in the slightest, it's just something she did out of her own intuition. Mind you, he said intuitive, not intuition. Intuition in this fucking situation, you imbecile. But I'm just gonna point out to you, right? She has lost her physical body, and she is trapped in a strange cyber prison, basically. She cannot interact with the outside world outside of simply speaking to Sonic, and instead of focusing on herself, is focusing on her friends and them all getting the help that they need. You know what she does? She goes out of her fucking way to help this little Coco who is looking for its lost love. She goes out of her way to help a Coco child reunite with its fucking mother.
Right. Mind you,
she goes out of her way to push Sonic to keep going. Even after he defeats Giganto and realizes she's still stuck.
Right. Like, he completely downplays this, and I think I mentioned that he's the one who really doesn't understand the entire point of Frontiers. And I think I later do say this, but I'll just like preemptively say it. Like that's incredibly important. The entire like concept or like point of Frontiers is that him helping his friends is the only reason why he was victorious towards the end at all, because he was becoming consumed by the corruption, and like his friends literally like came to his side. And again, like you said, it wasn't the power itself wasn't like explained. The ability to like repair the consciousness of his friends and them to then be able to do the same thing to them, it's not explained. But like, I feel like if we start saying that things that happen in game aren't actually happening, that argument can literally be put towards any game ever, and anything happening in any game ever. Like, there's literally a cutscene that shows Sonic doing something to his friends, and keeps happening unless you skip it. And then they do something to him that at least looks similar. Could it have been explained, like, outright and dumbed down for the stupid Americans? Sure. But, like, I don't know, man. I just personally put 2 and 2 together, and you could say, like, oh, it's contrived because it wasn't, like, spelled out for us. But what did you want to happen? Did you just want Sonic to die? Did you just want his friends to sit back and do nothing and be useless like they were in the fucking 2010s? At least they did something. At least they tried to help him. Like, what more do you want? I don't know. I think he just wanted to be spelled out like in Marvel movies, to where like Tails is like, I've been researching what's been happening to us in in this like space. Sonic's been giving our basically been repairing our code, so to speak, by looking around the map and collecting these little items. I think we might be able to give that energy back to Sonic. Which, I don't even remember if he didn't say something kind of like that. He might have. Okay.
I do recall that scene in full. He said nothing.
Now, me personally, I think if he did that, people would have bitched about it. Like, I really think people would have bitched about it. Like,
I do too.
So it's just like, I don't think there's any way Ian could have won in this situation. Either he spelled it out, and then people complained that Ian was freaking like writing, like his writing was like baby writing, or he didn't, like he did in what actually happened. He just had the friends help, and now we've got guys like bitching, saying like, oh, it wasn't properly spelled out for us, so that means it's bad. And it's just like, I don't think there's any winning in this situation. But no, so it's just like, it's whatever. But yeah, him saying that it wasn't being optimistic makes absolutely no sense, because we saw someone being pessimistic in this exact same situation. It was fucking Tails, and people bitched about that too. But now this guy is saying because she went out of her way to do that was bad. And it's just like, what? Which is it? Do you want everybody to be miserable or not? Like, I don't know. So her flaws have been removed. They never hampered anything of the story. Her flaws have been removed when they never hampered anything of the story in the past. Removing flaws doesn't make a character better, like you pull it. This is not true, because what was the one thing that people constantly always bitched about when it came to Amy in like the 2010s and like the 2000s? It's that Amy was way too fucking clingy and annoying. So I'm just saying.
Something that I find funny is that around the time during the 2010s, especially like the mid to late 2010s, right? People were constantly talking about how much they wanted that Amy back.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, I'm glad I don't write for Sonic, because everything I would do would just be wrong. gave her constant to Sonic and a BS server that was never explained. No point in anyone know that. I already read that part. But then I continue by saying, illogically, huh? Didn't you say flaws were good and now they're bad? Seems like it's only okay for characters to have flaws you like. I might have read this incorrectly, but it did seem like he was insinuating, like, oh, removing flaws doesn't make a character better, like you put it. Which this statement here is way too broad anyway. Like, he should have been way more specific. He should have been he should have said the way that Ian Flynn removed Amy's flaws was wrong. Not removing flaws doesn't make a character better, because that's
removing flaws is the entire point of writing flawed characters. Is to have them learn and improve and remove those flaws from themselves.
Exactly. So I then say, I don't see how she can't be intuitive, a good trait, and also be optimistic, a good trait you claim she doesn't have. You never refuted that she was being optimistic at all. You just said nuh-uh with no proof, as you can be optimistic and intuitive in the same vein. And saying Tails needed him more is completely missing the point of the game. Everyone needed Sonic, not just him. As far as the ability to give their consciousness to Sonic, it could be easily deduced that they are doing the exact same thing Sonic did for them when he was gathering their collectibles around the map. He literally gave them some kind of energy. There's literally a cutscene that plays every time unless you skip it. Could it have been dumbed down and spelled out for us? Sure. But unlike you, I don't need everything written out for me to understand it. And that blanket phrase, removing flaws doesn't make a character better, is so easy to refute. So by your logic, Tony Stark should have stayed a selfish businessman in the first movie, and Sage in this game should have stayed subservient to Robotnik and not considered Sonic's help. Those are both flaws, right? So they're worse characters because those flaws were removed. And you could say Ian just removed them, but like, what do you want? Do you want her to get on her hands and knees and cry and apologize to Sonic for being so clingy and obsessive, the same way Tails did when he was apologizing for being such a burden? Or are you also in the camp of people that say that scene was terrible? I'm personally kind of indifferent. So yeah, it's just like, you can't have your cake and eat it too in this situation. Like, either
I really can.
Like, either they need to be subtle with their character progression, or they need to be fucking bombastic with their character progression. But apparently, according to people that hate Ian Flynn's writing, either you're damned if you do, or you're damned if you don't.
Damned if you don't. You can't win.
You can't fucking win. So now, I hearted this comment for a specific reason, because now I remember specifically what was removed. So let me actually go and get this clip now. Let me find it. So this is where it stops. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, it's this one. Like, once again, you lack understanding, because I think he deleted this comment. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, he deleted this one. He deleted this comment right here. Once again, you show your lack of understanding. So let's see specifically what he says here. I'm gonna scroll down. Come on, past me and scroll down. Yeah, why did he delete this huge ass fucking comment?
I think it's because he immediately got proven to be a fucking idiot.
I guess. He says here, once again, you show your lack of understanding for it clearly, obviously regarding a character and their structure. Again, I see that as an insult, especially since I believe it's not true. Just says, oh, you don't understand, And this is the second time he said this. Second or third time he said this, you just don't understand, which I failed to see what I'm not understanding. Where did I say it was good to have flaws? I said it doesn't make a character better, as simply relying or removing or adding flaws is a shallow view of storytelling, which you've demonstrated to have. Another one! There's another fucking insult! He called me shallow! How is that not an insult? What? That's why he deleted this comment! Because he did! He just called me shallow! That's not an insult! What? And then later he's gonna say, when did I insult you? You fucking snake! You fucking snake! You've demonstrated to have, like, you fucking...
No. Stand 10 toes down.
Like, if you're gonna...
Stand 10 toes down.
If you're going to say that I'm shallow, then say that I'm shallow. Don't say that I'm shallow, and then when I say, why are you insulting me, don't say, oh, I insult you. You did.
You fucking punk ass.
Honestly. Her being intuitive was one thing, but optimistic? When was that ever shown? I already freaking explained how it was shown.
It out for
I
you.
already
He has
explained
a whole
it.
video dedicated to Amy Rose.
Like, holy, like, this dude does not know anything about me. He just saw, oh, someone that likes Ian Flynn. They're all the same.
He doesn't know anything about either of us, and that's going to become apparent later.
Very much so. Simple, it wasn't because of the lackluster. You spelled lackluster wrong. Writing Frontiers gave us. What scene displayed her optimism for us other than Sonic, you must help these Cocos because their love is important instead of helping find Tails? That is another straw man. She didn't say that. What?
Here's the thing that's crazy to me, right? Why is he so hell-bent and adamant on Tails?
What? That's
Why
what I'm
is
trying to
that
figure
who he
out.
chooses to lock in on?
Maybe he's just a big fan of him, but like, I don't understand.
I'm guessing it's because fucking Amy, Sonic, and Tails all came there together.
That's the only thing I could think of, but it's just like, it's not Sonic's
And
fault
mind
that
you-
he found Tails, Amy first. Well, no, didn't he find Tails and then Amy? Or
No,
am I-
he found Amy, Knuckles, then Tails.
Oh, okay, so he
That
found.
order.
So, what do you want him to do? He ran into Amy. I forgot that that was the order. He ran into Amy first.
Remember, no one knew Knuckles was there.
Right. And Sonic probably didn't even know that Tails was still around. And if he did, he probably just didn't run into him yet. He found Amy first. What did he? Basically,
He found Amy on what was the first island called?
Kronos? Wasn't it Kronos?
Kronos Island, I believe so. Yes. Yeah, he found Amy on Kronos. He found Knuckles on Ares. He found Tails on Chaos Island. And that's the order he found him in.
So basically, what he's saying is that Sonic should have just abandoned Amy. That's because he found Amy first. In order to find Tails,
and then just leave.
Yeah, in order to find Tails in that situation before helping Amy, he would have had to abandon Amy. And the fact that he thinks that Sonic would be willing to do that means he doesn't understand who Sonic is. You're the one who doesn't understand, Ataladin.
The moment he found Amy, he locked in on helping Amy. The moment he found Knuckles, he locked in on helping Knuckles. It was the same fucking thing. And then he did the same thing for Tails. The moment he found Tails, he locked in on helping Tails.
Like, Sonic isn't high on my list of, like, favorite Sonic characters, and that's just, you know, a personal thing. But I respect Sonic. I always have. Like, that's just the kind of guy he is. If he sees someone, that needs help, he's going to help them. Honestly, I feel like that's... people won't see it as that, but the world of Sonic kind of revolves around, like, as long as he is trying to do the right thing, things kind of just generally work out for him. But the thing that when it comes to Sonic, I would say that one of his fucking faults is the fact that he has, like, too big of a heart. Like, and I can't immediately think of any games where because of that, someone actually takes advantage of it, which, if there was a villain... Sonic 06. There's Sonic 06.
Not even Sonic 06. That is one of them. That wasn't even one that crossed my mind. So that's 3.
Right. There's Sonic 06.
Secret Rings and Black Knight.
Right. You're absolutely right. Both of the storybook games do.
But the storybook games, remember, Shara almost betrayed him at the end until Sonic used, mind you, he had to use the power of the ring to command her not to betray him, because he said, do what you think is truly right deep down in your heart.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And betraying Sonic wasn't what she thought was right, but she was going to betray him anyway.
Right. So even the writers
and then in fucking Black Knight, that entire game is Merlina manipulating and lying to Sonic, using his big heart to her advantage.
Absolutely. So now that you've explained it like that, maybe that is something that the writers acknowledge, that is like Sonic is
work out for Sonic, but he has to fight to get to that point.
Right. So I guess even the writers understand that Sonic is too, like, kind-hearted to a fault, which honestly makes me respect him a little bit more. But yeah, like Ataladin is basically saying Sonic should have abandoned Amy, and it's just like he would never fucking do that. Like, what? He would never do that. But I digress. Let's continue. So everyone needed Sonic. The Cocos didn't need him. He knows that's not what I fucking meant. He knows that it's not.
Being disingenuous.
And technically, that's not even true. The Cocos did need Sonic. The Cocos absolutely did need Sonic. Like, that was the whole thing. Like, if he didn't help the Cocos, he probably wouldn't have been able to win, because you have to remember the Cocos him helping the Cocos made him like helped him and the others learn about what was the importance about the islands and what happened in the past.
What was going on?
Because didn't the Cocos basically make like Sonic like their champion to defeat the end? Or am I crazy?
Little, yes, but also no. It's a whole fucking ordeal.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's been so long, so I'm a little hazy on it. But the Cocos did need Sonic, like
yeah, they did need his help. They were an important part of the story.
So that is just not true. What he just said is just not true.
Because once everything comes to a head on Oronos Island, it's because of everything that they all learned from the Cocos and everything that happened prior to that. Mm-hmm. Mind you, again, all involving the Cocos.
Like,
where they finally understand, oh shit.
And again,
and pointing out, going back. Let's circle back to Sonic having a big heart 2F fall and being used against him. Frontiers. The entire time, the end is in Sonic's fucking ear, telling him doing this will help him and his friends. Even though what it's really doing is setting the end free.
Right.
Something Sonic doesn't learn until the very end.
I didn't even think about it like that, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'll continue with what else he said. He was there to save his friends, and he was there to save his friends and find the emeralds. Again, you don't understand how Sonic works. He could have a specific goal, but again, he's willing to help other people in the process. He always does.
Exactly. Also, he wasn't there to find the emeralds. The emeralds didn't become a major focus until after he had already found his fucking friend.
Oh, okay.
Mind you, right? It was because he was told by the end, you are the key, find the emeralds, and so on and so forth, right? Mm-hmm. He was there to find his friends. It wasn't until he listened to the fucking end where he was like, okay, maybe finding the emeralds might lend me some assistance and credence in this whole situation with finding my fucking friends. Then he finds the blue Chaos Emerald, finds the at the top of the mountain on Oronos Island, or Cape Kronos Island, where he finds Amy.
Right.
I said Oronos because Oronos, Rhea, and Kronos were all meant to be one island initially.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I can see why he deleted this comment. Like, pretty much everything in here is fucking incorrect. So the Cocos and their affairs was that's not a word, of Sonic's journey, but for some reason Amy holds him back because they're in need of what? She can't find her kids when Sonic needs to find Tails whose life is in danger? Hey, my name is Sonic. I see that lady over there really needs help finding her kids, but I gotta find my other friends, even though it would literally take me like no time at all to help them out because I'm literally the fastest thing alive, but fuck that mother and fuck her kids. Like,
fuck that woman looking for her child. Fuck that Coco looking for her lover.
Yeah, fuck them. And fuck Amy, who's also trying to help them and believes that this is important. Giving their conscience. No, that's you forcing a headcanon to fill the game's abysmal storytelling. Abysmal? I don't know about abysmal. I don't think you understand what that word means.
Abysmal means.
Abysmal means literally the worst fucking thing ever. Like, what? Abyss. Literally a void. which doesn't help. Sonic was chosen as the key to cyberspace, which again, we have no idea why, as they never go in depth other than he ran fast. The others were not chosen. If you make, okay, here's the thing with that. If you say that that's a flaw with this game, you gotta say that's a flaw with almost every Sonic game, because he does crazy shit that he's not supposed to be able to do in pretty much every Sonic game simply because he is super fast. So
hold up. Let me hit you with this, right? He says we've no idea why, as they never go in depth, and he ran fast. Bitch, the entire point is he's being played.
Exactly.
He's the only one who can go in and out of cyberspace and retain a solid form. Mm-hmm. He is the only one. That makes him different from the rest of his friends. Therefore, quote, he is the key, as in he's the only one who can go back and forth. He's the only one the end can use to its end.
And to also,
fucking pun not intended.
And to also bolster my claim about that being just a serious thing and not specifically an Ian Flynn thing, let's go to one of my favorite like Sonic games of all time, to where Sonic just has the ability to just be immune to things that negatively affect other people. Can you guess which one I'm going to reference?
Which one are you going to reference?
Sonic fucking Unleashed. Why the hell is Sonic the only person that's unaffected by Dark Gaia's energy? Chip even says it's because you just stayed yourself and you're just that strong. And that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with making it as simple as Sonic is just so heroic and brave that he's able to just negate Dark Gaia's power, so when he becomes the Werehog, he doesn't become evil. I'm perfectly fine with that, but if you say that's a flaw, that's literally a flaw with the entire series, because they're like, what? That's
Sonic
not
is always the
thing.
special one. Sonic is always the special one. Sonic's heart is too, by the time of Unleashed in 2008, Sonic's heart, it's clear, Sonic's heart is too much light in it for Dark Gaia to take hold of his heart like it does everyone else.
Absolutely. That's just something that you have to accept. You cannot blame that on Ian Flynn. That literally makes no sense.
And also, Sonic's not even the only one entirely unaffected by Dark Gaia. Tails isn't really affected by it. Amy's not really affected by it.
I guess that
When we
is a way
Professor
to.
Pickle, he's not necessarily affected by it.
Well, yeah.
It's only Sonic who gets affected by Dark Gaia's power and remains himself.
Right. Like, Sonic's always been special, but they were instead captured. That doesn't explain why they can do those things like Sonic can. The cutscene showing Sonic taking in the prison is him playing the role as Key. The rest don't have any given control as their prisoners. I'm really not sure what he's trying to say towards the end.
I think he's going back to the whole them in cyberspace thing, which is like, there's no hint of it, there's no idea where it could come from, but it's not impossible to put together and presume the reason why they're able to do what they did at the end of the game is because it's basically the exact reverse of what Sonic did for them.
Right.
And he set them all free.
So that's literally what I said.
Is it a logical thing? No, but it's not impossible to presume it.
And it's not even just that, but you could also say that in reverse. Like, how much sense does it make for Sonic to pick up wrenches and then that heals Tails? How much, actual sense does that make?
Okay, that's just more of a gameplay than an actual lore thing.
Well, that's my point.
Eventually.
You're damned if you don't, just like I said. But he deleted that comment. It is just that makes me lose a little bit of... It's funny... I don't know if it's just because, you realize that what you said doesn't make any fucking sense, or if you just really want to bolster when you said, I never fucking insulted you. Either way, it doesn't make you look very good. So, I respond to that by saying, I'll get back to you when I get to my PC, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, that was written... Oh, wait, no, that was in response to fucking placeholder. And so then he says, when did I insult you? Well, we already showed you insulting me. If you have no idea, you have no idea that I insult, but it's the truth. I mean, I already think that the way that you said it was supposed to be insulting, but then again, you also called me shallow, and I don't think you can refute that. So
this is where I come into it all.
Right.
Because H said, I think we've flooded Jet's notifications enough with this. That was the first time I saw any of this.
Right.
Because remember, I have access to H's account because I'm an editor for him. I edit for him all the time. So, but usually when I get notifications from this thing, I just swipe off and ignore it. Because it's usually not important to me.
Right.
But then I saw this when I got... Because I'd been on my alt account for the past few days working on stuff over there. And this was when I get dragged into it all, because this was the first time I saw any of this, and this is when I scroll up and read the conversation, then just get bored halfway through and just scroll to the rest of it.
So
come back down to the end.
Right. So you say after I think you scoured these comments a little bit, you say, and after seeing this, frankly, I feel the Ataladin person didn't pay attention when playing through Frontiers, which he showed that he didn't. Is Frontiers flawless writing-wise? No. The game's story is very flawed, but it's better than every game we got in the 2010s, save Generations. And again, even saying Generations isn't saying all that much because there really wasn't much of a plot to begin with. But
much of a story there. They even said when they were making that game, their focus wasn't the story. It It was the gameplay.
Right.
It was the game aspect of the game.
But what you said is still true. It is still better than most of the 2010s freaking stories just by playing it as safe as fucking possible. So he then responds to you by saying, can't even back your statement, can you? So where does it explain that the gang can mess with cyberspace? When did you say anything about that?
He tried to challenge me, and this is where I make him look like a fucking idiot. Read because I said it's never explained, because it's not. There's nothing there for it to explain. There's things you could pick up on that you could presume could lead to it, but there's nothing truly there to point to, oh, this is a possibility. It's just one of my personally many issues with Frontier's writing rise. Hence my statement: the game's story is very flawed.
Again, the only lesson that I can take from this, Ian Flynn, is you gotta dumb down everything for the stupid Americans, and people will still complain about it.
Read people's comment statements in full before you reply next time. He shut up for hours. In 2 sentences, I made him look like a fucking idiot.
For hours, he had nothing to say. And then he says your statement reeks of bias and hate against the 2010s.
2010s. I'm like, where did you get that from?
I don't even know what he's talking about. I don't know what Mance is talking about.
I've covered most of the 2010s games on my channel. There's a lot that I haven't covered because there's a lot of games that came out during the 2010s. But let me break it down for you. And this was the comment that I told you before. I feel like earlier I was bolstering his point, but I'm gonna disprove that right now. We're gonna look at this purely from a writing perspective, right? All the games out that came out in the 2010s, let's talk about it. You've got the 3 Boom games, you've got Lost World Free Riders, you've got TSR, Colors, Generations, Forces, right?
Like, I would argue the fucking TSR's fucking store was probably on like the higher end of that, and that's not good because that's a fucking kart racer.
Mind you, right? Exactly, because it is, and it's like Generations is up there, but they didn't really focus on the story. They just kind of played it safe. It has its issues, but overall, it's probably the best of the 2010s games.
Probably,
which it's a story that I like writing wise. TSR is a story that I'm indifferent to. I don't care for the 3. I hate the 3 Boom games. Actually, no, I hate the first 2 Boom games. I'm indifferent towards the 3rd one.
What's that one? Fire and Ice?
I think Colors, yeah, Fire and Ice, which is the only one that's even remotely decent.
Oh my god.
You've got Colors, which I've made a whole video on. I'm indifferent towards. Lost World is the only one I actually dislike, writing wise. And again, I think I already mentioned. What were the other 2? Free Riders. I actually mentioned in my video. I'm indifferent towards Free Riders. I don't much care for it.
Right.
And that's basically it.
Like that's really bad when you freaking like take the writing of like a whole like, you know, decades worth of games and you feel absolutely fucking nothing. Like I don't
most of it. Like, most of it I'm indifferent towards. So where in any of this do you get your statement reeks of bias and hate against the 2010s? First of all, how did you even get that from what I fucking said?
Yeah.
So I said is it doesn't seem like you paid attention during Frontiers. Is the game flawless? Is the game's writing flawless? No, but it's leagues and bounds better than most of the stuff we got in the 2010s. Because the only ones I feel like it's one game I feel like better than it writing wise is Generations. Because Frontiers, TSR, I'm in, again, like I just said, every other game except for Lost World and the first 2 Boom games, I'm indifferent towards. And generally don't care for.
Again, like you said, just replying to reply.
Oh, Forces! I almost forgot about fucking Forces. I'm one of the few people who have defended Forces' story. You fucking baboon! Do I fucking bitch about it and break into the fucking coals? Absolutely. Because in execution, it is fucking terrible. The idea itself, amazing. I've said this multiple fucking times. Idea on paper, amazing. Execution, pretty fucking shit. I made a whole video breaking that down and why I think that way.
Well, how do you think this Ataladin guy feels about Sonic 06? Because that's how I feel about Sonic 06. Shit execution, but a lot of great ideas.
Exactly.
Like,
that's how I feel about there are a lot of things. Funny enough, I actually recently watched the Knuckle Show. That's another even recently. It still hangs true to this day. There's a lot of games with good ideas, just shit execution. I think 06 had amazing ideas, just shitty execution because they didn't have enough dev time or people.
Right. It's just like, it's this dude just talking. Like, this is
Like-
these are the Ian Flynn haters that I freaking have to deal with, like, on the regular. And they
But
just
that was what told me he was talking just to talk. I was originally gonna break it down in a fucking comment for him, and I was actually initially going to plug my channel.
well, I can always
Where he's.
I can always plug it in this video whenever I put it together. But
It's just like, where did you get that from? That's why I was originally gonna make two. I drafted two separate comments, by the way, before I was like, no, because where did that even come from? How did you get that from what I said?
I don't know. I have no idea. Like,
That's when I realized he was replying just to reply.
He was just talking just to reply. Like, he's just like, you're someone that even slightly defends Ian Flynn.
Hold up, pause for a second. Wait, did he delete his comment? That little bitch off.
Which comment specifically?
He made a comment in response to what I said. Did he delete it?
He might have. It's not like it would be the first time. He even said
No, he didn't. It's just not showing up here.
That's weird. He also said something towards me that I completely ignored. He said there's a video by this motherfucker that addresses and agrees with problems I've had before I even saw that video. So you're saying basically
you can't articulate your own points. So you're pointing to another person's video.
So you're a parrot. That makes me respect you less.
You're a parrot.
You're a fucking parrot. Cool. Oh my god. Fucking.
But he said in response to me, except your comment isn't the truth because of so much clear evidence pointing otherwise. I can show you a fucking picture of it. Again, you're biased. None of your comments have any slight bit of proof when telling a Sonic story. The 2010s could actually tell. He edited this.
What?
He edited the comments.
He edited the comments?
Because initially it said at the very end, you're gonna see the fucking picture. I just sent it to you. Okay. He said the 2010s could actually replace Sonic's story while Frontiers fails to do so.
What?
He edited it because now it says it can actually tell a Sonic story while Frontiers fails to do so. You changed your fucking comment, you bitch ass, because you realized you fucked up. Because guess what? The games aren't meant to replace Sonic storytelling. What? Nothing is meant to replace anything. You fucking buffoon.
Why is he talking about replacing shit? I think that's why he said something about arcs being finished, because he's basically saying Sonic characters can't like have different adventures and learn new things. He's basically saying, oh, once their arc is done, then they're done with, which is crazy considering that Sonic has gone through. That's crazy considering that Sonic's gone through different arcs, a few different times. That's basically saying, like, oh, Sonic went through one arc, he can't go through any more arcs. He can't learn any other things. Like, what? That's boring.
Mind you, he spelled biased wrong. He spelled it B-A-I-S-E-D. It's V-I-A-S-E-D, you fucking imbecile. And the only reason I'm insulting you is because you came immediately insulting other people and everyone else. That's the only reason why I'm so comfortable insulting you, because you're a fucking dumbass, and you've proven that over and over and over again.
Honestly, it just makes you look bad, man. Like, if you're gonna come in and try to argue with someone, like, don't let your bias show as well as it did here. Because it's just like, you didn't make any real good arguments, like, at all.
You claim I'm biased, which, again, how did you even get that from what I said? But your statements constantly rig of bias and hate of everything but the 2010s.
Like, Jet literally, like, made, like, some of your arguments, like, actually make sense. Like, you needed someone else to freaking, like, make sense of the shit that you were trying to say.
This entire time, I was never trying to argue with you. I was never against you. I wanted to have a fucking conversation with you. Did I disagree with you? Yes. Guess what? That's how conversations work, dipshit. Also, I'm gonna make this real fucking funny. Scroll up to earlier in this comment, I believe it's this very fucking comment thread. I'm critical of Ian's writing in this very comment thread earlier. Very comment thread.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of his writing either, especially in regards to the comics. I've read like as the end of the world a bit much regardless of the circumstances. Indeed. So he just didn't read anything. He just wanted to freaking yell at people.
He just wanted to yell at people. Exactly.
Like, I bet Ian Flynn's writing for Sonic. I'm gonna take it out on you.
You're an Ian Flynn supporter. You're an Ian Flynn fan. And then then this person comes in, obviously against me. I think that's why he's trying to fight me and challenge me, and then made himself look stupid. Because A, I wasn't trying to challenge him, but B, it's because I disagreed with him. And so when that happened, nothing else came to his brain. There was nothing else there for him.
I guess not.
Even though I'm also agreeing with him, and then in this video, I have to personally go through and make your points make sense because I'm trying to agree with you. I'm trying to understand you, even if I disagree with you.
Right.
Because that's how conversations work. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you get more information. You listen to people you disagree with, think about it from their angle.
And then you become smarter.
That's the entire point of a fucking conversation. That's the entire point of a fucking quote-unquote debate.
Indeed.
Now, I'm not even necessarily trying to debate with you, because debates often just turn to argument. But a debate is supposed to be, by definition, is supposed to be nothing more than just effectively a conversation.
Absolutely. Like,
you know, people don't know how to fucking conversate anymore.
all they know how to do is fucking yell at each other, bro. And this is just proof of that. Man just wanted to yell. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. This ended up like an hour just passed like so freaking fast, and
oh my god, it did.
Yeah, it's been an hour, and it's just like that took an hour. Good god. Like, I'll cut down a little bit of this, but most of this I'm most likely just gonna have to keep because there were a lot of really good freaking points made. So it's like, wow, this is gonna be a beefy video. Well, I guess I will sign off here. Want to give a big ups to Jet for joining me in this.
Yeah. I was actually the one who suggested I join, specifically because he tried to fucking argue with me.
Right. This was definitely fun. I'll link Jet's channel down below so you can see.
So much fun. For our first collab on your channel, this is great. This is a great way to fucking start.
This was
us dunking on this dumbass.
This was absolutely fun. I'm sure Ataladin will be back probably because he could just sniff, like, you just smell someone that doesn't think Ian Flynn is the devil. Oh, I'll be back. Like,
just a favorite fucking.
Calling all maniacs, it is your time to shine. Big shoutouts to Ninja Godot, Genetic Passion of Zero, Makira, Dorito, Replico Vanny, Sonic Hedgehog 34, and Jet Suzuki. Thank you guys so much for your continued support.